It's a top 8 ProQuest Gravy Bones a deck tech profile this last weekend during probably one of the last ProQuests of the season. The only one I played, my first ProQuest, I brought Gravy Bones and got top 8, which is very exciting for me because I've been like scrambling to learn the deck, as everyone who's played it understands that it's fairly complicated. There are a lot of decision points throughout the course of the game, and you really need some rails to navigate those treacherous waters. So the ProQuest was 5 rounds Swiss. With my $30 store credit, I decided to get 6 packs. So I figure as I quickly review each round before I go through the deck list, I'll open a pack. I don't know if you're interested in that, but I am, so I'm going to do it. Gravy Bones is awesome. I love this hero. He is so fun for me to play. I'm not going to lie, he kind of got me back into the game, but I guess we'll leave that as a story for another day. So round 1, I'm paired up against a KO armed and dangerous. He wins the die roll, chooses to go first. I open like 2 D reacts and I don't know, some blues. He doesn't attack, so he just sets up. And so going into my next turn, I had nothing to start with. And then the game sort of went from there at that pace, where I never really got on gold. He just kept hitting me. I had to block way more often than I wanted to try and, I don't know, cycle to a better hand. And I ultimately just got rolled by him. But yeah, shout out to Chris. He was my round 1 opponent. He ended up also in the top 8. There's really not much to say about the game. It was just some gravy RNG. I also made probably a misplay or 2. But like, I was so far behind that I don't think anything I did would have mattered. Oh, the co-foil. So we get to round 2. I'm at table 6. It's the pair up. I got the pair up. Yes. That's what you want when you're in the loser side of things. Into a Syndra. This game went the complete opposite. I saw all 3 Conquerors in the first 5 or 6 turns. My charts were hitting blues and allies, and I just hit the gravy high roll and ended up winning something with like, I don't know, like 18 or 20 life left. It was a pretty like standard high roll game where I just did everything I wanted to do every turn. I got allies out. I saw my chum, and I just kept disrupting them. Conqueror into loot the hold, into another Conqueror, into like a turn cycle later of another Conqueror. But shout out to my opponent, he was super cool too. See what this pack holds. Ooh, a Parched Terrain, take that Verdance. Ooh, and a Cutting Retort. So we get into round 3. This is one of my locals, Jake. What's up, Jake? He's on Verdance, and man, this was another, I just did everything I wanted to do every turn. I mean, this was literally a perfect game, other than the fact that I took 4 damage off of 2 Loan Sharks. I literally just kept pressing him every turn. He was running Talishar, and he got a few allies cut down with it, but he wasn't getting Earths in the opening, just turn after turn, leaking damage, getting more allies out, doing double ally turns, Conqueror, running ley lines. Yeah, it was kind of a blowout of a game. Oh my lord, it's a cracked bauble. So we're going to round 4, and this is against another KO. Now this was a great game. This was not a one-sided game either way. This was very back and forth. He saw 2 blood rushes in the first like 4 turns. The first one was not that great. He didn't get a whole lot out of it. I didn't have to pop armor or anything. But the second blood rush, yo, shout out to the homie Kevin for letting me borrow Quick Dodge Flexors and Balance of Justice, because that equipment saved me this game, 100%. On his second blood rush, it was a full 5-card blood rush, and I just committed everything I had to blocking out. My hand going into the turn was 3 blues and an ally, and one of the blues was Tipple, so it only blocks 2. But I gravied the ally away to get another blue block 3. I popped the Balance of Justice, which I had blocked with previously for just such an occasion. So I drew another blue block 3, and then I pitched the Tipple with the Quick Dodge Flexors to get a 6 block out of it. So I ended up blocking a total of like, I don't know, like 18 on the turn, and managed to like stymie the wave. So he popped everything for it. His sash, it was a full blood rush turn. And then the game turned into like a slow slog between us, where we were just constantly blocking each other out and like chipping little bits of damage. But I managed to stick a Rigor Mortis and I kept just demanding cards out of him until finally I found a ley line with, I want to say a tipple, to get 4 and then ley line on an Anka. So I hit 4-7, breakpoints got through, won the game. He was down to 1, I was down to 3. It really came down to the wire. I managed to pull through with the win, and the legendary $350 equipment put in work. What do you know? So now it's round 4, I'm sitting at table 2, and across from me is this Hellsword Dorinthia player. I matched up against a Dawnblade Dory, which if you know anything about the Gravy matchup with Dawnblade Dory, it is your worst matchup in the game. It's a nightmare. I would literally rather sit against any other hero, any other strategy than Dawnblade Dorinthia. And it went exactly how you would expect. He chopped down my allies, got like 5 counters on the Dawnblade, and I just got bodied. And I was like, oh man, maybe I won't get top 8. But then the homie Kevin, who was sitting next to me on table 1, he was 4-0. Shout out to him. He got top 4 of this tournament. He's like, bro, you're at table 2 right now. Like, you're basically guaranteed to get top 8 anyway. It's like, oh, sweet. But based on the pairing, you know, you might end up against the op once again. I was like, nah, that would be a nightmare. Now I'm the 6th seed. The Dorinthia player, Colby, is 3rd seed, and we play again. Oh, yo, a Gallo, bro. That's funny. That's really funny, because maybe this is the magic bullet I need to solve the Dorinthia matchup. Is this what you're telling me, game? So yeah, we get repaired. It's top 8. I'm in the bathroom. Noah is in there also. I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? I was like, oh, you gotta get a D-react up and get the dumb, I don't know. It didn't work, bro. I lost the game. I tried my pants off, bro, but I just wasn't ready for it. I feel like I'm too new of a player, and you have to be, I feel like the Dawnblade Dory matchup is like probably the ultimate test of a Gravy player and like how good you are at playing Gravy. And I feel like I'm probably like 80% proficiency on Gravy. In those real deep game states, like I'm still working on pitch stacking and like taking setup turns. I'm still like trying to optimize each turn cycle a little too much because I'm still, like I can play the deck, but I'm still learning the deck. So something to work on for me. Long story short, I lose in top 8. Dorinthia back-to-back. Absolute nightmare matchup. I would literally rather play anyone else in the venue. But yeah, congrats to my opponent. You know, it must have been nice for him to just float through a couple games. And a super. This is the deck profile. Let's get into it. Got Gravy Bones, obviously. Best hero in the game. It's not, listen, Verdance, Syndra, not real. It's Gravy Bones. We all know it. Who got hit? Gravy Bones got hit. Did Verdance or Syndra get hit? They didn't get hit. They're not the best heroes in the game. Gravy's still chugging along, bro. Watch out for Gravy. This man's cooking. All right, anyways, Compass, obviously. Dead Threads, Hook, gotta have them. They are everything in this deck. I mean, they're just so strong. Some of the best equipment in the game. Dead Threads makes Chum a 1-card 4. You get Chum in the bin, you pitch 1 blue. You can pay for the 4. When you don't have this and you're trying to get Chum out, much more difficult. With this, super easy. Gold-baited Hook, keeps the engine rolling. It's just such a good, this might be the best arm piece in the game. I don't know, that's something I want to explore. I just feel like that might be the case. This card's so good. Mage Master Boots, really good. Into like mid-range, fatigue, slower games where you want to set up double allies. Definitely want Mage Master. You do have to practice weaving in the 1 resource cost and the non-attack factor. So basically you're using the Mage Master Boots to double ally when you have Go Again off Compass, and then you get Go Again on an attack with like an Avasti or Gold Kissed Rum, and then you get Go Again on summoning another ally from the grave, the watery grave, which can then swing. So you get double ally while you run the Mage Master. I was running triple no rune. I had to borrow the cloak, the robes, because I just don't have them. Did not need the robes, but I did put these into the Verdance. Never needed to use them once again. It was like such a one-sided game. I mean, if it wasn't for the Loan Sharks, it was actually a perfect game. So not much to say on these, but the AB was in there. There was a Kano in the tournament who got into the finals. Noah Bagelman ended up winning the tournament, which is cool for him because I've been keeping up with the runaways. and how it was his very last ProQuest. And anyways, that's pretty cool. I was just thinking about it because I stuck around to watch the finals, and it was a close game. Oh man, that was a good game. It was Noah was on KO. I don't know the other player's name. I want to say Paul. He was on Kano, and he had a huge turn, but Noah had the blue to pitch with his AB3 to stuff the wildfire a bit, and ended up living with like, I don't know, single-digit life, and then like he tried popping off next turn, and then just lost the game. I was running Tricorn. All right, that's right. I'm running Gravy's Hat. And why am I running Gravy's Hat? Because I don't have Crown of Providence, and no one else had it to let me borrow it. So I was running this into my aggro matchups, which is decent. This card's not bad. I mean, it's definitely not Crown of Providence, but like, it does what you want it to do. It gives you a block. The effect is to discard a Watery Grave card and draw a card. So you get a cycle, you get something in the bin. Unfortunately, it's on your opponent's turn, so it doesn't activate Dead Threads, but it does give you a cycle if you have like too many non-blocks, or if you just, need to churn through your deck some more. It's decent, not the best. Obviously you want to play something else, but it does get the job done. So now let's get into the main deck. I just have it all laid out as the 80, well, minus the equipment. Basically I was running 60, and then I had 70, it was 70 cards total that would go into the main board, so I had like 10 in the sideboard. That'd be like swapping out every game. We got 3 chums, obviously. So good. Dead Threads, get him out super easy. He's free to swing. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about him. You can use his effect when you're ally flooded to just like cycle through your hand. Usually you don't use his effect though, because people just want to clear him anyway, and they get punished if they don't clear him, because you want to, if you have an ally on board, it's so much easier to double swing allies, because you only have to get 1 source of go again opposed to 2. So he's always a threat, even just for like damage. Although to be fair, he's not the ally you want to be swinging a whole bunch, because generally you only have 1 swing with an ally per turn, so you really would rather that 1 swing be a higher attack ally like Sawbones, because you're just pressing more damage. But you're still happy if it's chum. I mean, if you're getting any attack in, you're happy with it. It's a 4 break point. He's still, I mean, he's super good. Major MVP. Sawbones is actually my favorite ally in the deck. This card's so good. The 1 for 6 damage is just cracked. You go +5 in value every turn he sticks around. If they, force you to tap him, that's not the case, but they still have to deal with him later, so he's just a constant threat. The damage prevention is also relevant when it gets into late in the tight game and you can get a Sawbones or 2 set up, and like an aggro matchup, you have that little bit of extra insulation. So yeah, Sawbones is my favorite. Super MVP card. Love getting him out. When you're managing playing the allies, like, their costs are super important for how you curve out a turn and what you plan for it. Like chum costing 4, Sawbones being a 3, the 3 Rigor Mortis being 2. Oftentimes, I'll play something like Anka out, which I'm playing 2 of, because it's a 3 cost curve. And sometimes, like, I'm just playing this to have another body that's cost 3, which makes it super efficient to get out. But like, say I have both of these in the bin and I have 3 resources, I'm going to mostly grab the Anka first, because turns come up where you're only playing with 2 resources to get an ally out. Say you have a golden tipple, you pitch a yellow, so it costs 1, and then you get Dead Threads. Now you have 2 resources. You can only access Rigor Mortis opposed to Sawbones or Anka. So yeah, these ones are obvious. I am playing the 2 Anka. I just wanted more bodies. It's almost as good as Sawbones. It's just 1 attack less, which matters, but like, is pretty close. And then the effect can come up. It didn't come up at the ProQuest I played, even though I played 2 KOs. I never got this setup into a Blood Rush, though that would be pretty good if you get that setup. Yeah, so I'm playing these 2. I'm actually playing 3 Swabby. Usually I only put 2 in. The reason I'm playing 3 is because I only have 1 Whaler. So the 3rd Swabby was my substitution for an extra Whaler. And you're pretty happy with Swabby. The thing about Swabby, like, you're happy if you get Swabby and it sticks, because the swing's so hard, bro. Just comes in for 7. It's got the break point. You get a ley line on it. It's 9. Super dirty. But the challenge with it is it always requires 2 cards to get out. So if I have kind of like a dud hand, like I have, I don't know, something like a Vasti and a Swell, and I don't really need the Swell resources, and like Call the Grave, so I can get whichever ally I want, I'll probably go with something like a Swabby, just because I can just cycle those 2 cards out and use them more efficiently than grabbing like a Chum or a Sawbones or anything else. So that's kind of how I think about Swabby. Just like use him when you have the extra resources. I'm running 2 Scubas. Organize this a bit. This is going more into fatigue. It's not that great into aggro, because in aggro, your board will tend to stick more because they'll want to try and like race you to go face, at least in my experience. And it's super expensive. Like, its first value equation is really good. You summon it for 0, you pay 3 resources, you swing it, you put something like a ley line on the bottom of your deck, you gain a gold. The value there is huge. You get 4 damage for 4 health, you get a gold, and you get to recycle a card. So it equates to like 6 value. But if it sticks, you really don't want to be pitching a whole blue to swing for 4 damage. Usually. It's easy to just play out and not swing. If, say for example, you have 1 source of Go Again, and you're summoning 1 ally from the grave, you can summon that ally, give it Go Again, swing with it, and then just plant a Scuba for free, which you're all right with because it sits at 4 health, and it's expensive to swing anyway. Although generally speaking, you don't want to be playing allies and not swinging with them. That's like the #1 rule of the deck, is like, if you summon an ally, you really want to swing with it because that's how you get the value out of the allies. Very important. So 2 Scuba. It could be 3 instead of like a Swabby or the Anka, but the way I set up my sideboard, I guess I'll just do it like this, right? So these 9 go into every matchup. The 2 Swabby pretty much go into every matchup. Whoops. Oh, and then I'm also running the 1 Oisin, which is like decent when you just don't, you had to block out, you had to do a whole bunch of other things. You're just running tight resources. Oisin's fine, swings for 3, it's free. If they decide to kill it, you get a gold, equates to 5 value, it's not bad. He's not great, but he's not bad. He's just not much of a threat. Like, swinging him for your 1 attack is like not that impactful, but it can string together a Prismatic Leyline turn. Yeah, and it's decent enough to run, especially in aggro. So you run these, and then this would be the like fatigue side of the sideboard. I put in the Whaler, the Scubas, and the other Swabby. So I have more bodies, more hitters, extension in the game. And then I run the 2 Ankas and the Oisin into aggro because the Ankas are cheaper. They're 3. I can get them out easier. And the Oisin is cheap. You can get it out easier because you're just blocking more so you don't die. And I'm pretty satisfied with that. It's worked pretty well. I'm happy with this ratio. I'd probably say the 3rd Swabby should just be another Whaler. The Whaler closed out the Verdance game. That's the ally count. I'm pretty happy with it. I want to try out Gallo. I don't know how Gallo is. I mean, his effect is cracked, but his numbers are terrible. So anyways, let's go on with it. I'm running 3 Call the Grave. This card's incredible. I'm also running 1 Fiddler's Green, and of course, a Back Alley Break Line. So the allies and these 2 cards are your targets for Call to the Grave. Call to the Grave gets you a blue into the grave, and it gets you whatever ally you want for the situation. And that's, as far as I can tell, usually dependent on how you plan on curving your turnout. You tend to get Chum, you tend to get Sawbones. If you have a lot of extra resources, you'll grab a Swabby. It really depends on the context of the game and what you're looking for in the rest of your hand, what you're trying to do. Into aggro, just getting the 3 off Fiddler's Green is really good. It gives you just like another target, something to do with the effect. When you, like, especially in aggro, you end up with a lot of allies in grave by the end of the game that you never actually summon because the game moves so fast. So you like don't need Call of the Grave to get you another ally unless you're specifically looking for one. And then Back Alley just gives you the action point to extend your turns further. It's definitely a brick by itself. It's a blue though, so you can always pitch it. Back alley's good. I might want to run 2. I'm only running the 1. I was even trying taking it out into like the aggressive matchups because it's only a block 2, and it actually came up in the game 4 against the KO that I wanted this to extend my game, but I decided it out. Actually, yeah, in that game 4, I also opened turn 0, the Fiddler's Green, and had to block with it. So that's like the other reason to side out the back alley. Like you probably want to use 1 or 2 of the Call to the Graves for getting allies in the bin, getting the engine online, and then you use the other one for the Fiddler's Green. But I guess I'll just call myself out now. At one point in the game, I had a Call to the Grave that I just didn't need it all because my grave was full, sitting in Arsenal for a few turns. I was like, you know what? This is a turn I'd need something like a Rigor Mortis. Call the Grave, pick up my deck. I literally don't have any allies left. They're all in the grave. And everybody was watching because my games were taking a while. It was a long game, and we were like the last game. So I have activated Call the Grave to do nothing. Although it does put a blue in the grave. Huzzah! Moving on. 3 Tipples. Very important. Obviously this card's good. The other ones got banned. Gets the engine online. Works with Leyline. I mentioned Leyline a lot. I'm running 3 Leyline. Which is very relevant to have an attack for the Leyline, because it really gets the value when you have a blue attack on it. Yeah, I mean, what is there to say about Tipple? Gets an ally in the bin, gets your gold online so you can activate Gravy and keep the engine rolling. You keep cycling through cards to see more of what you would like to shape your turn like. It's really like one of the most powerful features of Gravy is how much draw power you have with all the gold and all the draw discard effects. You really get to shape your turns, and it's really what makes the deck challenging, is all the drawing and discarding and playing off the top. And like, you know, if I draw yellow here, if I draw blue, you know, do I need a resource climb? Yeah, Tipple's great. The other starters, of course, are Portside Exchange. It's basically Tipple, but cheaper, and it's not an attack. You can also play Portside when you have no cards in hand, just to get a blue in the bin and draw a card. That's definitely relevant and comes up. Because the discard to then draw is not mandatory. How it reads, discard a card, then draw a card. If you don't have a card to discard, you just then draw a card. I like Portside a lot. I even like the fact that it costs 0, because oftentimes the 1 cost on the Tipple can like kind of mess up your curve if you're really trying to like play a lean curve, and you like might have to get an ally that you wouldn't want to get instead. Like instead of a chum you have, because you pitched a blue to play Tipple, right? So you have 2 floating and you have dead threads. You only have 3 resources, so you can't play chum. Versus you play Portside, you can get that chum out. But the Tipple works with Leyline, which is very important. The other starters, Chart the High C. This is your high roll starter. You want to see a blue, you want to see an ally. Sometimes if you have a whole bunch of blues in your hand, you want to see 2 yellows. Hitting Fiddler's Green off of this is sweet. If you hit back alley, like sometimes it can be relevant, but usually when you're trying to like get extra action points, I don't know, it's like you're doing it on purpose. So if you hit it randomly, it's not always that relevant, but it can come up. Running the ley lines gets you more gold. I'm running Loan Shark, so if that hits, you get more gold. Chart's really good. It's super finicky though. I've definitely hit double red off of it and being like, I thought that was mathematically impossible. Just does nothing. You're very depressed. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. You really want to minimize the reds you run in the deck, but you know, sometimes it's a necessary evil. Other 3 starters, probably the worst starter in the deck is the Jittery Bones. It's pretty good if you hit that like 25% ally off the top, but otherwise you have to do it off your hand. Which just gives you -1 card in value. But it isn't. This is like the epitome of a necessary evil for the deck. That and these 3 Loan Sharks, which I consider also starter. But I guess I'll comment on this more. This is also good for Leyline. If you're running Leyline, I think you have to run these, because this coming in for 5 suddenly makes it a lot better. And it really does, like, if you don't have gold, so you can't activate Gravy and you have allies in hand, this at least gives you a turn to play. So Jittery Bones is not great. You don't want to play it, but you have to play it. And considering how not great it is, it's not bad. And then Loan Shark, my favorite card in the game, bro. I love Loan Shark. I think this is such a spicy card. Like, this is such a cool flavor card, bro. You pay the man, and then you play the plan. I consider this a starter. I'm not running the Fableds, so getting Loan Shark off it's just so important with Gravy. You gotta have the gold. It gives you Gravy's ability to get an ally out of your hand, into the bin, engine online, see another card. It's also super easy to stack gold when you're running 3 Loan Sharks. And when you stack gold and you're in an awkward turn, but you're sitting on like 5 gold, you can just totally blow up a turn by just like drawing and trying to resource climb, trying to find disruption, trying to find whatever you need, turn the game on for you. If you need more damage, like I need to find a ley line, I need to find a Conqueror of the High Sea. The gold generation is just, I think it's super important. I honestly, like, people hate on this card. I think it's great, honestly. You pretty much always pay the price, though. Sometimes you can have a Fiddler's Green in hand at the end of turn, and you're happy to get it out, and it's like, yeah, or like an ally. But mostly you pay the life, and you just kind of take that L. But getting the engine online is so much, like, I'd rather get my engine online and pay a couple points of life than just, like, not play the game and lose anyway, right? So 3 Loan Shark. I think that this should probably be staple. Maybe that's just my opinion. You've got to play all these cards to get the engine rolling. I consider it, 3, 6 Call to Grave as starter, 9, 12, 15, 18 starters. And by starter, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know if you recognize the Stardust Dragon. Well, I used to play it. And starter is just like a card that gets your engine online. And I think with Gravy and its high variance, where you can like super low roll a game if you don't see starters, seeing as many as possible occurs to me as extremely relevant. And I'd love some feedback on that from anyone in the comments, what you think about that. Still got more blues to go through. 3 Murderous Rabble. Card's great. It doesn't really do anything for the engine other than getting a blue in the grave if you need that. Usually comes in for 3. Oftentimes comes in for 2. It's another ley line target, so then it comes in for 6 or 5. It's just like a good consistency piece in the deck. It also gives you more like attack points as you play the game. Instead of like the one-dimensional, like I just swing an ally or conqueror, you know, you can like Murderous Rabble, ally, conqueror, hit the triple dippy on the prismatic ley line. Always satisfying. I think Swell's in the same boat here. It's another blue attack. People go crazy about Swell. Like, whoa, you like see the 5 floating resources and go nuts. But like, let me lay out why that's like not a real thing, right? Like, this card's fine, but like oftentimes I'm literally just pitching it or blocking with it. Like, it's kind of like the last blue you actually want to be playing. And this is why, right? I play Swell, I pitch this blue card to play it, so I have 2 floating. I get a blue off the top, and now I have 5 floating, except to start this out, I just had 6 resources anyway. So it's like it's not that crazy. It basically just allows you to get a blue attack out with ley line, very relevant. Like, you want to play it. And you need to get your watery grave engine turned on, your gravy ability. I feel like I should just have gravy out here somewhere. Looking sexy. Anyway, so you play 3 Swell, Rabble, pretty standard. 3 Sunken Treasure. Card's great. Blocks 3. It's a blue. It can give you gold, which happens fairly frequently, depends on the matchup. Obviously against like Syndra, you can hit their kunai, and then they're either cooked or they're cooked because they either lose their kunai or they pitch 3 cards to save their kunai. Really strong. Also into decks like Fi, you hit a Phoenix Flame and they just cry. Pretty good. Shout out to a local of mine. Yeah, this card's great. You could side out copies into Fatigue, but you play it into most decks, you're satisfied with it. It's a sort of engine starter, but I mean, any gold generation is. Great card. Okay, and then here is where things might be a little different. I'm running 3-tip the Barkeep, and the count varies depending on what I'm playing into, and I still haven't figured out exactly what I like. In fact, I'll say these ones together. I'm playing 3-tip the Barkeep and 3 of Vast Yi. These are your extenders. These make your turns bigger. This gives you a Gold Kiss, which gives an action go again, and then this gives a Pirate Ally swing go again and a gold on hit, which is kind of, you mostly play it for the go again swing. I'm putting all of these into Fatigue. They're also blue block 3s, which is pretty sweet. You're pitching them a whole bunch, but when you have extra space, you can bank a Gold Kiss Rum to set up for later turns. It's like turn 0, or I don't know, you just don't have anything else to do with your cards. You didn't block. Banking it's good. Avacity is good. When you have, especially, Avacity super punishes if your opponent does not clear an ally, because then you're able to Avacity the ally, like say a chum, swing the chum for free, it has a gold on hit, and then you can play another ally and swing that ally. So it's definitely like a win more card in that sense, but also it gives you a go again for when you have 2 go agains. Like you want to crack a Mage Master boot and you have Avacity, you can double summon ally, double swing ally. Yeah, so I'm running 3 and 3 of those, which I like a lot. I'm also running 3 Loot the Hold. This is Gravy's Disruption against decks that really don't want to block, like Syndra. Just forces them to either block or discard a card, creates a gold on hit. It's a blue block 3. It's everything you want in Disruption. I like Loot the Hold a lot. Very satisfied with playing it. My round 2 Syndra opponent, one turn I conquered him after already conquering him 2 times. Maybe it was the second one, I don't even know, it was a blur. But I conquered him, and then I looted the hold him after he'd already he was like, all right, I'll let the arsenal go. And then Loot the Hold came down on the ally after the conqueror. And he was just like, that's ridiculous. Just a very high roll game. Anyways, 3 Loot the Hold, I like it a lot. It's very strong, good disruption. I'm playing 2 Fearless Confrontation. I actually just don't have a 3rd. I probably would have played a 3rd, because I feel like this is the type of card where if you are running it, you want to see it as frequently as possible, right? You have a chum out, they send a CNC into the chum, you Fearless it, chum sticks around again, and the game can just get out of control. This card's very good. It's a blue block 3. Technically, it's also a blue attack for Leyline, although I've never had that come up, though I'm sure if you play enough, you will have it come up. I like the Fearless a lot. It's really good. I'll definitely put in another copy, but you can get away with 2. Here's the 3 Leylines. This card's cracked. It's super important for the deck. It gives you the damage output that you need to get over like a 12 block cycle. You get this onto a 1 blue attack, it becomes a 4, and then you get it onto a Sawbones, a 6 attack ally, it becomes an 8. And if you hit the triple dippy and get it onto a Conqueror as well, comes in for 6 value. Usually you get it at 5 value, sometimes you'll get it at 4. Sometimes you'll even have to cycle it just because your hand's kind of clogged up, so you only get 2 value off of swinging an ally. But this card's really good. You play Scuba, you can get it back, so you can play 4 or 5 copies of it, depending on how many Scubas you play, depending on how long the game goes, if you see it engraved when you have the Scuba. This card's really, really good. An absolute necessity in the deck. Always run 3 of them. The other power card is Conqueror of the High Sea. We all know this one. 8 go again. Destroy Arsenal on hit. Create a gold token. Such a power card. Cost 4. You need 2 blues in your pitch to get the High Tide. +1 go again. Which you usually get. If you don't, you were playing a very bad hand, unfortunately. And you just kind of have to cycle out the Conqueror. A lot of times, just to keep good damage cycles going, even if my opponent doesn't have an arsenal to threaten, I'll still swing this out for 8 as you weave in an ally summon like a Sawbones. Because that happens a lot, where you have 2 blues to pitch, plus your Dead Threads resource. So you have a total of 7 resources, 4 for the Conqueror, and then 3 for an ally, which is also why I like playing the Anka as another 3 cost to marry it with the play of the Conqueror. That's part of my logic in running the Anka in the deck. Yeah, this card's great. Not much to say about it. It's a total blowout card, very strong. Always run 3 of them, love it. And then we have the final cards of the deck. I'm running 60 reacts, 3 Blood in the Water, 3 Sink Below. Blood in the Water is your first choice. You don't run 60 reacts in every matchup. Sometimes you only run 3, and it's more of a mid-range matchup. Blood in the Water acts as a mini engine piece because it can get you allies engraved off the top. The value on that is insane. When you peek with your compass at the top, see an ally, block with Blood in the Water, get 6 block in value, and an ally developed. Yeah, really strong. I mean, a 0 for 60 react that helps get your engine online and churn through the cards in your deck. Super above rate, and worst case scenario, it's still just a 4. The one downside to playing these, along with the Conquerors, Fiddler's Green, and the Sink Belows, is that they're reds, and reds run so terribly in this deck. Seeing reds really clogs up the engine, clogs up your hand, because it's a very resource-heavy deck. So you want to see your yellows and blues to make big plays happen. And when you're seeing reds in your hand, it can really like stymie your own strategy. But the upside when you're getting run down by a Syndra or a Dio is that it saves your life. Blocking 6, really good. Blocking 4 with a sink below, cycling out an ally, getting another blue block 3 so you can stuff a boom grenade. Very important. So I'm a fan of the 3 and 3. I mean, the sideboard space is tight, and you really don't want to see reds, but you just have to run it, because when I'm in aggro, the sideboard, the deck is looking like 10 reds, so you're going to hit them more off chart, you're going to see them more in your hand, you're going to have less resource efficient turns, which is already the case when you're playing into aggro because you have to block more. So this is what I'm on. It works well for me, no complaints. I guess I'll wrap this up by commenting on the sideboard a bit more. I just mentioned that's basically what you're doing with aggro. The other sideboard cards would be the loot the hold options, how many go-agains you want with your tip the bar keeps and your Avasties. Like these are going into aggro with your Oisin and your Ankas. You're putting in the Fiddler's Green, get extra health. Also, Fiddler's Green is just a decent block card if you do happen to draw it. Still 4 value. And also you can discard it with Gravy, and it just works in the deck. It being red, the red is so bad that I actually considered yellow Fiddler's Green for a while, just so that there's more gold synergy for the engine. But the reason you run this is really to call the Grave It, to get that 3 life, which you hit way more consistently than randomly like using it to get gold. Because you could like equate the value at the same rate, right? If you get 2 health and a gold, that equates to 3 value, just like if you had 3 life. But in the aggro matchup, you really just want the 3 life. The other sideboard choices, I mentioned it earlier, pretty much all these guys. You're putting these into aggro, putting these into fatigue. You could even, I don't know, play around with it. It's basically however you want to do it. Maybe I'll actually make a video going over it more in depth and like a full strategy. I feel like I've gone on and on for a while here, so thanks for watching. The PQ was at VTC, which is actually where I'm filming this deck profile right now. Mansfield, Massachusetts, great game store. Love it. I come here all the time. Shout out to Noah Bagelman for winning the ProQuest. He snuck it in, he did it. He came down here from, I don't know, the North Pole or wherever he lives, and stole the win from the locals. What a guy. So yeah, shout out to VTC. Shout out to Kevin. I mentioned that earlier. He let me borrow the equipment. You're the man, Kevin. Thanks for watching. Send him to the watery grave. Get him Gravy. Sawbones, attack. Sink below. Just summon out the sink. Swing with it. They'll never know what hit him. All right, I gotta go.